On October the 1st, Community Outreach Ministries celebrated its 12th anniversary. The ministry began in 2003 in October from very meager beginnings. There was nothing more than a dream and a vision and what we felt like was a call from God. Today we want to talk about those beginnings, and we have Steve Speake here with us, who was the original chairman of the board when we started this ministry. Actually got involved before the actual birth date, as he was one of the first people that I shared the vision with. So Steve, glad to have you with us today.
Good to be here.
Talk to us. So when did you first hear about COM and about the dream and a vision for a ministry like this?
Well, my introduction to COM came from you that day. We sat down for lunch, and you said, I've got an idea, and you laid out what the plan was going to be. And quite frankly, I thought at the time you were crazy. but truth be known, I was unaware of what opportunities existed in the community. And so for that reason, I thought, Corky, that's a great idea, but I don't think it's needed.
So what made you end up buying into it?
Well, it didn't take me long to realize, quite frankly, that there was a huge need in Williamson County. The things that you had already been plugged into, plus the ideas that you had coming, were going to provide an opportunity for us to reach a lot of people.
So we began back then, and you and I can, in fact, there's a picture of you and I on my desk with the very first donation that anybody ever made. What was it like being the chairman of the board those first few years and during the formation of this ministry?
Well, I've been asked that question, quite frankly, and when you asked me to be chairman of the board, I said, chairman of what? Because truthfully, there was nothing. I mean, we had absolutely nothing when we started. There was no board members. There was no money, there was no logo, there was no letterhead, there was nothing but a dream, quite frankly. And for the first few years, we struggled mightily. It wasn't easy. I remember using my office space for our board meetings for a time because we didn't have anywhere to light. I remember asking people for money because we needed to make a payroll. Let alone have reserves or anything like where we are today as far as financials are concerned. So yeah, we've come a long way.
Well, what do you think? Now, you've been involved now the full 12 years in one shape, form, or fashion.
Yep.
And so as you think about the ministry, what do you think is the greatest thing about the ministry?
I think that can be easily answered. In my mind, the greatest thing about the ministry is it takes light to dark places. Whether it's people that have never known God or Jesus, or whether it's somebody in the middle of a crisis, a life crisis, or whatever the event is, we have the opportunity to take light where there's darkness. And I think when we're able to take that light in, it brings hope.
Well, how do you see, again, you've been with it from day one.
Yeah.
How do you see it having an impact in our community?
Well, that has evolved as well. I remember early on when we were heavily involved with the drug court and working with the people that were graduating from drug court, and the success that we were having early on with those people, and bringing hope and possibilities to the lives of those people. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there are still people that came through drug court that have gone the right way and are clean in life.
Oh, and we still have contact.
Absolutely.
Even though we've not been involved with that particular program for, 3 years?
Yep.
A lot of those folks still come back to us, call us. I'm
Yep.
friends on Facebook. We have opportunities.
Yeah. And of course, with Outside the Lines, every year we touch hundreds of young athletes. And those life lessons go with them for the rest of their lives. It may not be something that we see immediately, but those things are going with them for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, seed planting.
Absolutely.
Seed planting.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. Well, from the beginning, in October of 03,
yeah.
to now, we're sitting here in December of 15, so we're 12 years in. How have you seen this evolve?
Oh, my goodness. There have been so many times I thought this thing's never going to survive.
Me too.
I'm sure that'd be the case. But every time we've met with an obstacle, God has said, excuse me, I'm in charge. Excuse me, Don't question. Have a little bit of faith. I remember when we didn't have a place to meet, then we had a place to meet, and you had a place to office, and then we lost the space.
Yeah.
And then miraculously,
We were homeless.
Yeah, the Faith House came about.
Yeah.
Throughout the evolution of community outreach ministry, we've been faced with one obstacle after another, and every time God has found a way for us.
And I think that's fantastic, and I think it's because God doesn't call us to something that He also doesn't provide us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've all had a sense since day one, this is not about me,
Absolutely.
It's not about any one person, it's about our mission, and it's about what God has called us to. And He just happened to pick us to carry it out.
Absolutely.
And been some dark days, but He's always come through.
Yeah, if you look at where we are now as an organization and the board, the strength of the board, we have 9 board members now. That are all, successful business-minded people. And I think about the first ragtag team that we had. I'd never been on a nonprofit before. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
I'd never been the chairman of anything.
Maybe your homeowners association.
Well, okay, yeah, I wasn't that. Yeah, boy. But here we are now, and we've got the strength of a board. We're always looking for financial resources. There's no question about that. But we're able to make payroll.
It's a good thing.
And that's a blessing. We have a permanent residence. We have a great support staff. We've got a board with direction. I see us adding ministers. I see us, through the rest of 16 and 17 and 18, 2018. It's just, I think our growth is phenomenal what's going to happen.
I agree. Now, you've been involved physically, obviously, chairman of the board. And I don't think I mentioned you stepped off the board for a while after several years, and now you've come back, not as the chairman, but as a board member. And that was a pretty brazen thing to do. And so you've not only been involved physically, but you've also been involved financially. You have from day one been a huge financial supporter, you and Karen. Why do you continue to stay involved physically and financially?
Well, because the need doesn't ever go away. Quite frankly. Not the need just for the money, but the need for us to be out there. That doesn't go away. God's not through with us. God still presents opportunities for community outreach ministries, and as long as those opportunities are there, there's got to be financial resources to back it up.
So if you were able to just sit down with people and look them face to face, what would you most like to say to people about community outreach ministries?
Well, I think the first thing is to educate them that there's a tremendous need in Williamson County that people have no clue about. That's where I was 12 years ago. I thought, we're one of the richest counties. There's, but now I realize what goes on in our world, that there is a whole subculture of people that don't know God, that don't know what faith is all about, that really have no hope whatsoever. And I tell people, you don't see them. They exist. They're not crossing the aisle in church every Sunday morning. They're not churched people, but they still have a soul, and they still lack hope, and they still wish for things. And they look other things. They look at drugs, and they look at other things to replace what that real need is. I tell people all the time, we go down there in those crevices and cracks that are so dark and try to provide some light to people, because we're not going to see them in church on Sunday.
Yeah, probably 2/3 of the people we minister to don't have a church home.
There you go.
Or don't have faith. And,
Yep.
a lot of the instances we're brought on to, you've mentioned darkness. We deal with some real darkness. So
Yep.
God's given us a real opportunity. Well, Steve, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to say thank you. You were one of the first people that I shared this crazy dream.
It was at the
vision
time,
with.
yeah.
And just look where God's brought us.
Absolutely.
And you've been right there with me. And on those days when I wasn't sure about, hey, what are we going to do? Are we going to make it? And I had a family to support and all that kind of stuff. You were one of the guys that always pointed to faith and always pointed to God's faithfulness to get me through those days. And so I love you and appreciate
Absolutely.
you very much.
Well, it's been a fun ride.
It has been. I'm looking forward to more.
Absolutely.
You're not off the hook.
Oh, no,
man.
I know. I'm afraid I know that.
We'd love to tell you more about Community Outreach Ministries. In fact, if you'd like to know more, please go to our website at www.communityoutreachministries.org. You'll find a lot of information there and a video catalog there where you can see videos about different pieces of our ministry, we'd love to have you be a part of our team and partner with us. We'd ask, if nothing else, just pray for us as we continue to minister in our community. So God bless you and thank you.
Thank you.